In the Mastermind, in a sedate corner of Massachusetts circa the early 1970s, an unemployed carpenter turned amateur art thief, played by Josh O'Connor, plans his first big heist. When things go haywire, his life unravels. The Mastermind is directed by Kelly Reichardt, who has previously directed films such as First Cow and Showing Up, and The Mastermind just debuted in competition at the Cannes Film Festival. The Mastermind, if you told me before watching this, if I didn't know that Kelly Reichardt directed this film before watching it, I never would have guessed. This is quite, a little bit, for me it felt different to his previous films. This film is really much a film that it's kind of like it's a very 70s film. It feels like a film that was made in the 1970s. It has all the details, it has the pacing of those type of films. For me, I'm a very big sucker for heist films, and I just, something about criminals, like the planning and the execution, the aftermath of a heist. I just can't get enough of those type of films. I'm just they're very much a guilty pleasure for me. And in this film, Josh O'Connor, he's kind of like an amateur thief. He kind of just plays around with little museums. Like we see him in the opening scenes of the film. He's with his family. He has 2 kids and a wife played by Alana, Haim. And he goes to this museum, and he kind of, like, when nobody's looking, he opens this cabinet and steals like a little ornament. And then after these scenes, we see him with his friends planning a heist at the same museum. These small museums don't really have alarms or video cameras. I guess back in the 1970s, they don't really have that sort of thing. I guess only like the really big, expensive museums had like cameras and alarms. So Josh O'Connor and his mates are able to steal some paintings from this museum, and they actually get away with it for a little while. But this film, the heist and the aftermath, takes maybe the first half of the film, and then the final second half of the film is Josh O'Connor. He's basically been found out that he's the mastermind of this whole heist, and Josh O'Connor has to spend the second half of the film basically on the run. He's basically just him on his shirt, his pants. That's all he's got. He's got nothing. He's got no money. He's just got enough money to get to the next location. So he just has to kind of like get back with old acquaintances, college friends, and stay with them, and just travel around. And he ends up eventually get caught at the end of the film. For me, I have a bit of an interesting history with Kelly Reichardt, because when he first broke out on the scene with films like Old Joy, at that time in my cinematic journey, I guess, I was not really I was really going back into like the 80s and 70s and 60s and 50s and 40s and older films, and I wasn't really watching a lot of newer films. And when I was watching newer films, like slow burn type films, were not really the films I liked. I wasn't really a patient viewer at that time. And as Kelly Reichardt in the last decade or so has made more films, he really makes films in the same style. But for me, my patience and the type of films I like to watch has changed over the years. And I didn't really like Reichardt's earlier films, but his last few films I have slowly liked him more and more. And The Mastermind is definitely my favorite of his films so far. So I do hope one day to go back and watch his films with a different mentality and patience that I didn't have before. This film, The Mastermind, has a pretty stacked cast. There's Josh O'Connor, Alana Haim. She's pretty much wasted in this film. She just pretty much plays his wife, and she doesn't really get much to do. She just kind of like reacts to the current situation. And there's like John Magaro and Gabby Hoffman as some college friends. There's Hope Davis and Bill Camp as Josh O'Connor's parents. I thought it was interesting to have like the Vietnam War as kind of like a backdrop character in this film. Josh O'Connor, he eavesdrop over conversations with Vietnam vets, and you see on the TV there's the war still ongoing in Vietnam, and and there's a lot of like draft dodgers, like drifting around America at the same time that Josh O'Connor is drifting around in the second half of the film. And I guess a lot of people probably think that he's also a draft dodger. I give The Mastermind 4 stars out of 5. I really enjoyed this film. It's very much a slow burner slash art heist slash character study. Like in the second half of the film, Josh O'Connor has to go on the run, and he kind of like immersed in this journey of his trying to evade the police, because his photograph is in the newspapers and on TV, so he has to kind of like go incognito. And this film really captures the period, and it has a nice stacked cast and some nice performances from Josh O'Connor, and it's just quite enjoyable to immerse yourself in this film. I can't really describe it very well, but if you're a fan of Kelly Reichardt, I definitely think you're gonna like this film. And I think this film is quite a nice introduction to Kelly Reichardt's film, which is much more accessible than his previous film. So I definitely recommend checking out this film, The Mastermind. Thanks for watching. What did you think of The Mastermind? Please comment below what you thought of the film. See you next time. Bye.